every day, but then for the parents, because you guys are a part of this journey too, and sometimes you guys are a good part of the journey, sometimes you're an obstacle. So everyone, this is Brandon McCoy.
How y'all doing?
His dad, his son is Brandon McCoy Jr. Like I said, the #1 player, not we're making shit up. Google him, the best player in his class, the #1 point guard in the country. Real quick in that regard.
Yeah, in that regard, it's just bonding to the concept of like hard work. Like when Brandon was like younger, it was like getting him just to buy in like to his eating habits. That's first and foremost, like dietary stuff. Just having an effort. Like parents, we only want the best for you. So some days it would come in, he'll be in his video game. So I had to balance the hours if you want to work on your game or you want to work on the video game, you want to be a gamer. So everyone goes through that concept of.
And it had to be my wife.
Yeah.
I apologize for my wife.
But of working on your game as far as like of your parents telling you to, or are you going to do it on your own? So I went through that whole phase of that with Brandon, and that's the big thing for you guys when to figure out what you want to spend your hours on, like what matters to you. And like playing on a club team, bouncing around and working on your game, we've spent countless hours in the gym. And as parents, like we got to sit there and drive you guys, sit there with you guys, so the effort is on both sides. So it's not like it's a form of punishment for you guys, it's a form of, we want you guys to get better. So that was the biggest concept, like me and Brandon went back and forth with him working on his game, is that part of it. Like navigating that part of like putting the effort, the days you don't want to go.
So the one thing that we talk about all the time is, as parents, sometimes we don't allow the kids to match our efforts.
Yeah.
We're gonna reward them, we're gonna do all that. But if we don't have them match our efforts, we're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
So if you guys gonna sacrifice driving out here at 12 o'clock for them to come to camp, they gotta do chores at home. They gotta do their homework, they gotta listen. If they're gonna come to a practice, our coaches shouldn't have to motivate them 80% of the time.
Yeah.
I have a 20-80 rule. 20% of the time I expect they'll be fatigued, there's a day that maybe they don't wanna do it. 80% of the time, y'all gotta be fucking motivated.
Yeah.
Right? So you got, your parents are making sacrifices, and you guys have got to help us as coaches, player development, and people in your circle to make sure that they maximize their time. I'm not saying no love and nurture, but the coddling is too much, and I think that's one of the things that we kind of agree on, is that trust the process with who you have them with. Stay out the way. Unless you don't trust the person you're with, you shouldn't be with them in the first place. And that's one thing I respect about this man. He brought his son to me last summer. He was already on the radar. He's never called my phone. He's never stepped out to work. Olin, please do this. Olin, do that. And he's #1 today. Like, and it's not because of me. There's a level he trusts and he let it roll. So as parents, we got to do a little better job of that. Let who's in your circle be in your circle, and don't interfere. The interference should be make sure they work hard. Make sure that they're making the sacrifices you guys are making to get them to and from. The financials behind it. And so, if you want to keep spitting on that.
No, you're totally right about that. Like, one thing about me, I've never tried to coach my son. I never tried to train him. Like, I always want to put him with someone who knows more than me. Like, I try to remain dad. I gotta have his ears dad. I feel like if I did anything beyond that, I would lose him. As far as like him understanding what I want from him. So, like having with O, like O, he knows. Like he listens to everything O says. He trusts O. Like with any time O gives him any homework to do on the game, he does it. So it's like he said, just trusting that part of it, putting your son or your daughter with someone who you trust in that process of it. Because you can't. I think it's hard to do both, and that's from my perspective. Like they don't want to hear you come home, homework, chores, effort, and then you in the car talking about the game and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, like all those things. So I let that go, and I just remain dad. So like having O has been a blessing for us because he takes that part of it. And I've seen my son go from, already on his trajectory to even further and like putting in more effort to where it went from me telling him to get up and having his electrolytes and do X, Y, Z protein for him up. He's notifying me like it's time to go. So I think once you hit that part of it, it becomes more about you. It's never about us. Like as parents, we made our choices already. Like we know we want to do in life, so it's all about you guys getting better and what you guys like. If you want to play basketball, like if my son wanted to play the piano, I would have the same thing about that. He'd be the best piano teacher or the best trainer and whatnot. So like that's a big part of it too. I think so.
Parents, I don't want to take up too much of his time because he got here at 1:30 and I pushed it back because I got here a little late myself. If there's any question, like just a couple questions, if not great, a couple questions, maybe he can help lead you in a certain way or give you advice in a certain avenue. If you have any parents that want to ask a couple questions, raise your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So you never had to train your son, like even as like a middle school?
Nah, that just wouldn't think I want to do. That's not my thing. I play sports, I play basketball, but not to the level. I wanted someone to teach him who knows more than me. So certain things, it's hard to have that contrast. You don't want to take those I didn't want to take those car ride homes where it's like it's quiet and I'm just bashing him. I was going over things that he already done. So it's like, that's just me as a parent. I didn't want to go through that. So that's why I didn't do that. Yeah.
Nobody else. Appreciate you.
Okay, for sure.
You don't have to go though. You can
I'm
hang.
chilling. It's your birthday. I'm chilling.
So, yes, go ahead.
So when they were younger, we was playing tournaments, we traveled a lot. Like, he's been traveling since 8. I used to care about it, but like once you're on this level in high school, and he grew up playing against older people anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like, the cream gonna rise to the top. I think they play against older kids,